It's Jess, back with another video. I just scratched myself and I'm bleeding. Okay, that's not good. FYI, I'm okay. I started working at a laundromat and I, am allergic to laundry detergent or like fabric softener. It's like a thing my dad has too. So itchy. And, I also go to the park and mosquitoes, and then I've been walking because I've been taking the bus. Long story. But I'm gonna go tend to that. I'll be right back. Okay, I was trying to find the appropriate, like, I wanted to stand, but I also wanted to sit on the bed. But, like, I don't want to sit on the bed because it feels like it's too far away. So I got a chair. And I also feel like a weirdo because you can kind of hear through the walls in this place. And my neighbor's probably gonna be like, what's going on? It's like 11 o'clock at night. I cannot sleep for the life of me for the second day in a row. And I was looking at my YouTube channel. It goes up. I didn't know. Anyway, so I was pondering and I was like, what could I do that's productive with my time right now? Because I am just sitting here on Facebook and I'm getting kind of bored and I'm not tired. So I figured I would get on here and talk about my cats. I did want to explain as to why I'm where I'm at. So I did explain in my other video I'm having a little bit of an issue figuring out what to do as to my living situation. I am in a predicament where me and my other person, we are not together anymore. We haven't been together for a decent amount of time. We do still live together. And, you know, we can't live together forever. So I have been trying to, you know, gather my footing in the world. And I recently obtained a job. It's a part-time job, but it is a job nonetheless, which honestly I enjoy it so much. I have not worked in a really long time. I was out of work for 2 years, established my disability claim, and then after that I had a slew of medical issues. I still do, but I was really in the thick of it at the time, so I hadn't worked for it's been like 6 years, and I recently acquired a job, thankfully, in hopes of obtaining my own place for me and my daughter. I hope my neighbors can't hear me. I feel so weirded. This is why I didn't like living in apartments in the first place though, is because I used to be like, oh, people are listening to me. When that's probably not the case, they probably don't care. But for me, I'm like, oh. I was looking for a place, and then my car died. It exploded. And thankfully, a nice neighbor seen me and towed me back to my residence. So my car is sitting there currently. We are, meaning me and a family member, we are in the process of like seeing how we can fix it, if it's fixable, etc. I don't have a vehicle currently, and I've been taking the bus. And I don't have anywhere to stay because I took a job where I intend on living and was commuting back and forth, which was fine because I had a working car. However, now my car's not working, so I had to find a place to stay, and I've mostly been staying in like hotels and stuff like that, whatever's cheap and clean, essentially. That is why the backdrop is not my normal backdrop, but hopefully my car is fixed soon. Honestly, I don't mind taking the bus. I actually enjoy it. I've met a lot of people. I think it's really good for my social skills because I am very much an introvert. This is also turning into just a video of me talking about my situation, but whatever. If I get into the whole cat thing, then so be it. If I don't, I'll make another video. And I've been commuting to work, and like I said, I like it. I don't like that as technically as a disabled person, I have social security. I don't like that when I get on the bus and I pay the fare or I scan my phone, the person goes, "You're paying the wrong fare." And I go, "No, I'm not. I'm disabled." And then they look at me like I'm crazy. I mean, technically I'm crazy, but no. And then I have to explain to them, and I also have to be like, "Hey, I have hearing aids on." But no, they make you show a card from Medicare saying that you're disabled so you can get the 85-cent fare instead of paying full price. That it causes like some issues because I get on the bus and I try to tell the bus driver that I can't hear them very well, and that like I'm getting off at the stop, and like if you say something to me, like I'm not gonna understand you because of all the noise and stuff like that. Because I got my hearing aids back, but they're actually still broken. I can't use the volume up and down button. It just like turns it to like if you were to like connect it at a movie theater, or you were to put the tinnitus setting on. That never happened before. It was always you press it down and hold it, and you change the setting, and then you just push on, up and down to change the volume. So I'm having an issue, and I can't change the volume, so it's very hard for me to hear people. I sit on the bus and then I wait for my stop. And then I sometimes I push the little button up top to tell them like, hey, I need to get off, and then they pass my stop, and then I'm trying to tell them like, hey, you passed my stop, and they're trying to talk to me and I don't understand them. So I kind of have to rely on other people to like stick up for me at some point. But aside from that, I've met a few people on the bus that I talk to, and kind of I mean I have to be face to face with them, like if they're across from me and stuff like that. And I'll talk to them, and they're really nice, and we just have chit chats until we get off at our stop. And also, my job is really beneficial to me with socialization because I'm forced to socialize. I have to ring up orders and deal with customers and stuff like that. Overall, it is like a very solitary job. You don't have to talk to people if you don't want to, but if they come up to the thing, I mean, of course you have to help them. But most of it is just maintenance and stuff like that. It doesn't mitigate the PTSD that I have. I don't like being around people, especially men. So there are a lot of men that come into my job. There are a lot of men on the bus. There are a lot of men when I'm walking to my bus stop, especially at night. So I don't like that, but I mean, it is what it is. I'm trying to deal with it. I am having nightmares still, which has been an ongoing thing for a long time, so nothing's changed. My medication, I am seeing my psychiatrist soon, and I do think that me being away from my residence, and cohabitating with the people I am cohabitating with when I'm at home, aside from my daughter, of course. But I do think that is adding to the medication, like the side effects that I was having, because while I'm by myself, am a little, scared and stuff like that, but I'm not having that doom feeling, and I'm not having that feeling of like something bad is gonna happen. So I am thinking that's from the stress of being at home. That's how I'm doing right now. I am stressed because I don't have a vehicle. I'm stressed because it's like you have to find some place to be when you're not at work. But yeah, it's life. Also, I mean, I don't really want to say this because I'm not trying to be mean, but both of my parents, I don't really like talking about my family because I don't want to get in trouble. More so with my mother, but my father as well. More so my father getting mad at me and just, giving me hell about it. But both of my parents, they do. I really do think that they have something not right. There are many things that from my childhood that I could name, but I'm not going to. Even as an adult, there are many things that I could name. I'm not going to. However, I do talk to my father, and me being a person with bipolar disorder, and my PTSD as well, because it is a family. It's related to my family, not my parents, but my other family. I talked to my father, and he also has something, you know, wrong, and won't admit it. I'm probably gonna get in trouble for saying that, but it is what it is. I mean, that's my opinion. And neither of my parents that I know of are on any medication. I am the only one that I know of in my family, in my extended family as well, that is medicated and seeking help for issues. So, that being said, talking to my father is very stressful. But I mean, it is what it is, I guess. You know, family in general is stressful. I've been having to interact with him a lot more recently because I don't have a support system. I have my daughter, and that's terrific. But my daughter is but only 2, so she can't exactly hold a conversation, or, you know, I can't talk to her about life as I would an adult. So, and I also can't ask her for help. She's a child. So yeah, I've been having to rely on my parents, well, my parent, a lot more lately, going through this difficult time. With all of that being said, I don't know how I'm gonna really segue into this. I wanted to talk about my cats and how I got all of my cats, and the cats that I don't have currently that I've given to other people, because there have been multiple. So I will go in chronological order. Sorry, this is a weird video. It goes from me explaining my situation and weird things to cats, but I guarantee if I just made a video about cats, it'd be a very select few that would click on that anyway. So you know what? Mash them together, maybe it'll be better and people will watch it and take a chance. I'm gonna go get a drink. I got my not pinkity drinkity here. It's iced tea from the Chinese food place. The first cat that I ever got was Gilbert, and I've talked about him in the other video with Lucy, and I love him to death, and unfortunately he's probably dead by now. I hate to say that, but it's true. When I last seen him, he was like 14 years old. So there's absolutely no way he's alive right now. It's been 6 years since I've talked to my mom and my sibling. There's no way he's alive. He was the bestest cat, aside from the cats I have now. He was the bestest cat ever. I love him to death. I got him when me and my sibling, we were in this like private school that is now unfortunately demolished. It was a great school. It was cool. It was very nostalgic for me to pass when I was in town. We were going to the school. Day we go to pick my sibling up from school, and they had all of these tiny little kittens and in a box. Apparently there was 4 of them. There was 2 girls, 2 boys, I believe. Fortunately, one of them, I guess, had escaped from the box, and they just they couldn't find it. So there was the 3 left, and there was the 2 girls and the 1 boy. And the 1 boy was really quiet and just by himself. And the 2 girls were like meowing and like hissing at everyone. And we were like, oh my god, like, we need to get them. Like, they're so adorable. And my mom was actually gonna get all 3 of them. My dad would have been pissed. We were gonna get all 3 of them, and then the 2 little girl ones were a little too angry for our liking, so we got the little quiet one. And we called my dad on the phone, and we were like, hey, there's this cat at the school. Can we bring him home? And my dad does not like cats. He despises cats. Thankfully, he was half asleep at the time, and he's on the phone. He's like, yeah, man, just do whatever. We're like, okay, cool. And we take the cat, and eventually the 2 other ones, they found a home with one of the teachers. We bring Gilbert, who wasn't Gilbert at the time. we bring him into the car, and he was so tiny, and we had an Expedition, and it had 3 rows of seats, and he went all the way in the back and crammed himself under the seat. I was very scared. I don't remember how old he was at the time. He was very tiny. He was a little fluff ball. I wish I had pictures of him when he was little. I do have pictures, like printed pictures, but I don't have any on my phone. I'll try and insert a picture of him as an adult somewhere on this video, but there is a very short video of him rolling around on my channel. Somewhere it's like long lost down the video rabbit hole on my channel. He hid under our couch for like 3 days. We had a leather couch and had a pull-out bed. And he went under there, and there was this like long metal bar for some reason under there, and he hid under there and would play what we called the bass. He would go under there when he was a little kitten, and he would fling it like that, and it would make like a bass noise. So he just like crammed himself down there, and then he would come out at night and eat his food and go back under there, and yeah, and then eventually he came out. Everything was cool. He's a close cat. That's how we got him. But he like I said in the other video, he used to growl at the mailman. He used to follow us around like a dog down the neighborhood. There's this girl from school that we had over in middle school, and my sibling had chicken tenders, and the girl thought that she was done with them, so she took one, and then my sibling got mad, and my cat whopped her with his paw. Like he knew. And it's funny because she turned out to be like a really bad person at the time. I think she's okay now. But I won't go into too much detail about him because he's my cat, but he was technically our family's cat. So the next cat that I would have gotten was Ziggy. There's this cat. His name is Ziggy. I named him. Oh, also, I named Gilbert. I named Gilbert after the Rugrats. Me and my sibling used to call the dump truck, or like the garbage truck on the Rugrats, Gilbert. I don't know why. We did not name it after Caillou. Everybody thought we named him after Caillou. We didn't. We named him after a dump truck. Ziggy. I named him after, there's a lunchbox that I have that has I think it's Ziggy in like an airplane, like the comic thing, and I named him after that. I named him Zygmunt, but we don't call him that. So we got Ziggy from my dad was going out with this girl at the time, and she had a really nice house. She had a nice like patio and everything like that, and I was working at Tivana, I think, at the time, and I got a text from my dad of like a cat picture, and I was like, what the hell? I was like, you don't like cats? I was like, whose cat is that? It was so tiny. It was like this big, and I remember it was a picture of him on like the sidewalk, and I was like, where'd you get this cat from? And he's like, oh, come over to the person's house, and like didn't tell me anything. So I get there and I walk into the screen room that they're sitting in, and I'm like, where is this cat that you're talking about? And they had no idea where it was. They said, oh, it's in the screen room, and they went to go get him and they couldn't find him. And turns out he was under this like low table, like coffee table, the whole time, and we were looking for him, and he was just there sleeping. So they bring him out, and I was like, well, where'd you find him? And they're like, oh, we just found him under the shed or whatever. And like, he's so tiny, and I don't know what to do with him. And I told my dad, I was like, oh, I was like, we need to take him. And my dad was like, oh, we don't need a cat, Jess. Like, we don't need a cat. Lord doesn't let animals, da 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 da. We were renting a house at the time. I called it an apartment in my other video, but it's a house, and it was 2 floors and like 2 bedrooms, I think. Really nice house. It was a split house, actually. It was big, and people rented out the back. And the landlord was never there, but he was, you know, he was just making up excuses. I took the cat and I told him, I was like, oh, he'll only be here for a couple of days. Like, I'll find someone to take him, blah, 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 blah. And he was so tiny. And I think he had a respiratory infection. And I didn't know what to do because I'd never experienced having a kitten except for when I was like, you know, a little kid. So I found this place that was next to my old high school, and I walked in there with him in my book bag. I still remember, I have pictures. I walked in there with him in my book bag, and he was like this big. And I went up to the desk and I said, hey, I don't know what to do. We found this cat. I don't have any money. I was like, can you help me? I was like, I really don't have that much money. I had been working a job, but it was minimum wage and it was the mall, you know. I didn't really have any bills at the time, but I think I used to spend my money on clothes, to be quite honest. And like random antiques and stuff, because I was weird. But yeah, so I brought him in there and they were like, yeah, we'll help you out, and he's too little to, like, you know, give him his vaccines or anything like that right now, so you know, just give him a little bit of medicine and bring him home. So that's what I did. And he hung out with me for a while, and he did not like the house. He stayed upstairs and he didn't like coming downstairs. And then finally one day, me and my dad are in the kitchen and we had this like wraparound like little island thing, and he came down the stairs and he just peeks around the corner and he's like looking, and he seen me and he's gonna come out, and then he seen my dad and he was like, no. Ran back up the stairs. But eventually he would just hang out downstairs. Like, I have pictures of him in front of like the refrigerator and stuff like that. He's yeah, he was real I'm not gonna lie, it was a real butthole, to be quite honest. I would call my husband at the time. He was in Japan, and I called him crying one day because I was like, Ziggy's beating me up. I woke up in the middle of the night and he was like going like slapping my face and stuff and clawing at me, and he was real mean. Even as a kitten, I didn't want to keep him. He's too like aggressive for my liking. I was like, I want like a docile cat, like Lucy, like the video I put out. Very chill cat. One day, my dad's sink broke. He went out, and I came home from work, and I went in there, and I was with my friend Julio. So I went in there, and after doing something, and I was like, Julio, did you put water on the floor? Like, what is going on over here? He's like, no. Okay, so I was like, okay, so I guess my dad has water all over the floor? And I was like, I'm not cleaning it up. I was like, F this. I was like, I'm not cleaning this. So, went upstairs or whatever, you know, Julio leaves, and my dad comes home later and he's like, why is there water all over the floor? And I'm like, I thought this was from you. So he starts looking, and the sink, like one of the pipes had burst, and he had to call the landlord. So the next day, he's telling me, he's like, you have to get this cat out of here. The landlord is gonna come over and see this cat. And I'm like, I can just put him in my room. He's like a little tiny cat. He's like, no, you have to get him out of here. What I did was, I called Julio over and I told him, I was like, hey Julio, can you like pull your car in front of my house? I was like, I don't know when my landlord's coming over here, so we're gonna do like a sneaky heist over here with this cat, and I'm gonna put him in my book bag. I'm gonna bring him out to your car. So that's what I did. He was supposed to have him for 3 days, and I went over to Julio's house with him, with Ziggy, and his dad didn't know about the cat, so we were just like in his room, and I'm married at the time, mind you. I had been married for like, I don't know, a year or two at this point, but like me and Julio were close, like we were chill. He's in one of the other videos I have of like a cooking video with my ex and my friend Emmanuel. So we would hang out in his room, and like chill, and he had a futon, so we would just hang out there. But like his dad came in the one day when we had the cat over there, and we're like, oh my god, what do we do? Like we didn't know when he was like walking up to the door, so we both hid under the blanket with the cat, and his dad comes in, he's like, what are y'all doing? Like he's looking at us all weird and shit. And like he didn't say anything, but I was like, he's probably gonna think I'm like with Julio and like not, you know, it's like, I got a husband. And little did he know we had a cat. He hid the cat from his dad for a while, and Julio ended up keeping him. And then his dad found out, but his dad at first was mad, but then after a while, like this cat and him were best friends. Like I have pictures of them sleeping on his bed together and stuff like that. Like his dad adored this cat. And the cat was not a butthole to them. She was only to me. His family didn't like the cat, so like keep him in a room and stuff like that for a while. Eventually they warmed up to him after like years. Like he still has his cat. And I'm pretty sure he's doing okay. But yeah, and then he started going outside, and he would just like roam around, and like the one time they couldn't find him for the longest time, and like we got all afraid, but he was fine. He came back. But yeah, he's a super buff. I'll try and insert a picture of him too. Super buff. Like I guess he's just like a tabby cat, but he's so lean and thin and long. He was the first cat that I smuggled into my house. And then I'm probably missing stuff too, because like I'm just rambling on. Second cat that I inadvertently got and which named me Cat Lady at this point, because everyone after this was like, oh, there's a cat. Jess can take it. The second cat was Carter. R.I.P. Carter. I'm actually gonna dedicate this video to Carter. I'm gonna try and put like a little thing in the beginning because, oh, my little boy. And Julio's little boy. I feel so bad for Julio. I wanna cry right now. I'm trying not to. Like, I know it's a cat, but like, my friend Julio loved this cat. He adored this cat. I didn't want to give Carter away. He was such a docile little boy. But, I just could not keep him at the time. And Julio couldn't keep him either, really, but he did. He took him from me, and I really appreciate that. I will appreciate that until the day I die, because, you know, Carter could have had a different story. He could have ended up on the street, literally. So how I got Carter was after I got Siggy. It was like a family friend. Their grandparents, like I had known them my whole entire life, and I didn't really talk to them at the time because my parents had gotten divorced, and like I just kind of fell out with them. Like I just didn't talk to them. So but anyway, one of the days after work, I just got a phone call from their grandparents, these people's grandparents that I knew, and they were like, hey, Jess, I heard that you rescue cats. And I was like, I mean, I don't, but yeah, I love cats. Why? Like, what's going on? Oh, my neighbor, this is in like the city near where I grew up at. And they go, oh, my neighbor, there's a snowstorm coming, and it's wicked weather, it's horrible weather. There's a snowstorm coming, and my neighbors threw out this cat. Just threw him out there like he's garbage, because he started peeing in the house. And I was like, well, he probably has something wrong with him, or, you know, like he probably has something, yeah, not good. And so I felt bad. He was scared. They managed to catch him. That's the reason they called me. They said, well, we managed to catch him. I don't even remember what they put him in, maybe a box or something. However, he had gotten out. And then when they called me, they said, well, we'll try and catch him again if you're going to come take him. And I said, okay, I'll come take him because I'm Cat Lady. I go over there and I pull up, and yeah, they had him in like a little box or whatever they had him in. And I remember taking them and them just being like, yeah, like they didn't care, and they had this cat for like a year and then just threw him out like he was garbage. And I was like, that is so wrong. I would never do that to my cats. Even now, like, even I'm moving and stuff, and like I'm trying to find a home for like the animals that I can't take and everything like that. Like, I would never do that. That is so wrong on so many levels. Like, how do you live with yourself? Yeah, I took them and I brought them back to my house that I shared with my dad at the time. And my dad was like, absolutely not. No, no, no. We already went through this once. We're not doing this again. I told Julio again. I was like, hey, Julio, your girl's back with another cat. I cannot keep him. I was like, my dad told me no. But I did give him the backstory of this cat, and then he like fell in love with this cat. Carter, unfortunately, I think that Carter had issues his whole life, and when he passed away, I can't even remember what he passed away from, unfortunately. I think it was like a kidney issue, which would make sense because he would pee on stuff or like pee outside of the litter box. It wasn't like a behavioral thing, I don't think. So I think it was something he couldn't control. And unfortunately, you know, me and my friends, we don't, even now, like, we don't have a lot of money. There was a time where I could bring my cats to the vet anytime I wanted to, no problem. If they had an issue, I'd go. But now I have a child and I unfortunately cannot do that all the time. And my friend, you know, we were young at the time, and he did not have a stable job. He didn't have a stable income. His family is not from money, so you know, it is what it is. So yeah, I gave this cat to him, and I remember we also hid him from his dad because now he has two cats in his house, and his family members, because he lives with us. Well, he did. He lived with like his dad's family members and stuff. And they did not like cats. So yeah, we had this cat, and then eventually we were like, hey, we got another cat. They were not happy, but there was really nothing they could do about it. We kept him, and I named him Carter after the president because I am a history buff and I love Carter, Kennedy, stuff like that. His name was actually supposed to be Kennedy, but I thought Carter fit better. I forget what Julio wanted to name him, but I was like, no. I was like, I found the cats, or they were given to me, so I get to name them. Give him name, and mostly the rest is history. I did actually take him back at one point. His family was absolutely livid. Because, you know, the cat was peeing places it should not be, and I felt bad. I had an apartment at the time. I had two cats, I think, maybe three. I don't know if I had my grandparents' cat at the time yet, but I took him back, and I tried to like kind of rehab him. I tried to curb his behavior, thinking it was a behavioral problem. He would just sit by himself in my apartment under the birdcage I had. He wouldn't really interact with other animals, other cats, I mean. And yeah, he did stop it for a while, and I gave him back to Julio, saying, oh, you know, everything's fixed, I guess. But he started again, and they did keep him. And then eventually, I believe it was maybe like a year or two ago, unfortunately Carter passed away. I got word from my ex now, from Julio, that he passed away. They had to, they actually had to put him down because they had to euthanize him because of his issues, and it was just like, oh man, I'm getting like teary-eyed thinking about it. I don't like it. But he had issues, and if they would have, you know, prolonged his life, it would have essentially prolonged his suffering, and nobody wants that. But also nobody wants to put down their cat. And this was like Julio's baby. I'm trying not to get all cry. I know it's a cat, but I really do bond with these animals. Even my animals outside, like the barn cats that I have now. I'm going to be so sad when I have to officially move away. That was Carter, and R.I.P. Carter. But you know what? He had a good life compared to them just flinging him out on the street. And not only that, but like he was so skinny when I got him, and he was a big cat. Like when we got him back up to, health wise, um, he was a chunky cat, and he was so adorable. I'll insert pictures of him as well. His now wife, Julio's wife, Allie, she crocheted Carter like little sweaters and stuff. It was so cute. But I will forever. I'm trying not to cry. I will forever be grateful that they called me that day because I know he brought Julio a lot of joy. Moving on to the next cat. I already talked about how I got Lucy, so I'm not going to include her here. Gist of it is, my sibling called me one day when they were working at a haunted house and said, hey, we found this little tiny, teeny tiny cat. And Aunt Betty won't take it because she had lost too many animals. She was 104 when she passed away a couple years ago, and she had so many animals over her lifetime. She was cat lady before I was cat lady. It was her and then my mom and then me. So she just couldn't deal with like another loss. She just could not fathom having another baby and then unfortunately pass away or something like that. So she did not want to take another animal. She was also elderly and she was getting up there in age. Like she was already up there in age, but like she was starting to lose her hearing and like her back was going and stuff like that. So she just couldn't take care of them. So I got Lucy, and then the rest is history. She's my little baby before I had my little baby Yessie. And her and Ethel, I don't know who tops each other because I love them both dearly. Ethel I love because she's funny. She who I'm gonna speak about next, but she's funny. She is crazy. Lucy's crazy because I'm pretty sure she has like feline hysteria or something. Like, I've looked into it and I think that's the only plausible thing. But Ethel is like crazy in the sense of like she does like stupid things. So yeah, Ethel and her sister, I will talk about them both. So Ethel and Freya, who was originally, it was Courage and Mittens. Courage and Mittens. Now is Ethel and Freya. Freya was also Bella to my grandparents. They called her Bella because Bella means beautiful in Italian. And so yeah, I got Ethel and Freya. I got them from my ex's cousin. I'm so forever grateful that she gave me them. It was such a disaster, me taking them, but I'm so glad that she gave them to me. Stuff like that, but she was moving and she couldn't take them. And like mostly said like if I take them like I'll be evicted. So I was like, okay, like I want a second cat. I mean, I didn't really want 3 cats, but I want a second cat, so I'll take them. And it was like a spur of the moment thing, I'm not gonna lie. I was really young, I was medicated, but like medicated incorrectly. That's more likely the case. They had been flip-flopping my meds a lot of in my early, late teens, early 20s. I heard from my ex's sister, was like, hey, you want these cats? And I was like, yeah, I'll come over there and pick them up now. So I went over there. It was like super late at night. It was dark as hell. And I remember either my dad or my ex telling me, be very careful because it's not a good area to be in at night. So I went over there and I literally pulled up and I went over to their car and they opened the door of the car and they had both of the cats and I had both of my cat carriers. I bought another one because I had Ziggy and Carter. So I had bought another one, and like I asked Julio, I was like, hey, can I borrow it? Because I had given it to him. I said, okay, so I went over there, took them both, and she was like, thank you so much, you know, like, thank you for taking them. And I was like, yeah, no problem. And I bring them home, and at the time, my dad and I had moved. He got the house he's living at now, and it needed a lot of work. And I remember I don't think I was gonna go to Japan at the time. Like it wasn't planned. I had already went once and left. Oh no, I had left twice already, and I had left my cat with. I had left Lucy with my sibling twice, and then I did not plan on going to Japan again. And however, that things work the way they do. Took these cats home, and I put them in my room. I didn't tell my dad I got them because I knew how he was, but I was like, I don't know, I don't want to see these cats like go to like a shelter or something. So Lucy was not happy. I kicked her out of my room for a while because she was not happy at all, and I didn't want her to like fight with the cats and tell my dad, you know, technically tell my dad. So I kept them in my room for like 2 days, and Ethel was sleeping in her litter box like the weirdo she is. And then was chilling on my bed, and my dad opened the door the one day. I was like, I was like, oh, no. And the cats were there, and he didn't see Ethel because she's a calico cat. You would have clearly seen her. He seen Freya, and Freya is tan or like beige, like light, and he thought it was Lucy. So he closes the door. Like, he didn't even see that. Like, he just like went in there, talked to me, and then, you know, leaves. And then he comes back later, and he sees the cat. He's like, what the? He's like, wait, what? Whoa. He's like, there's not 3 cats in my house, is there? And I was like, huh, yes. I got in a lot of trouble. A lot of trouble with my dad. He was like, you gotta get these cats out of my house. He's like, you are not keeping them here. And he got very mad. And he was mostly like, you know, this is my house, da 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 da. Looking back at it, I was being pretty belligerent doing that. I was like 20 at the time, and never really had a rebellious streak, so I was just like, I want cats, man. It's like the least of your worries. Like, it's not like I'm doing drugs or something, you know what I mean? But yeah, he got really mad. So ultimately, he was like, you need to get them out of here. And I called up my grandparents, whom I was speaking to at the time. And I was like, hey, I got these cats, and I really need help. My dad doesn't want them at his house, so can you like keep them at your house for like a little bit, please? And they really did not want to. However, I showed them a picture of the cats, and my grandfather, who, little tidbit, is my abuser. This is a long story, man. I'll put that in another video. Like, I don't know why I talked to this man. Honestly, I don't know why I talked to my grandma either, but it is what it is. Anyway, but he was like, oh my god, you know, that looks like my cat Snowball. They had a cat. My dad had a cat growing up. Its name was Snowball. It was pure white, and they loved this cat. And again, my grandfather and my dad are not cat people. So they had a cat, and it was an outdoor cat, and they would feed it, and it would come over to them and hang out, and da 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 da. Well, one of their neighbors went over and put, I don't know what it is, rat poisoning maybe, in its food, and they killed it because they didn't like cats. And they were so heartbroken. And then they never got another cat after that. So he seen this cat and he thought it was white in the picture. And I was like, no, it's tan. But they still wanted it anyway. And I was like, okay. So I was like, keep them over here and like I'll figure out something to do with the other cat. Or maybe you keep both of them. I don't know, whatever. And yeah, and then a couple of days, maybe a week later, they were like, yeah, we love the one cat. She's really chill. However, the other cat, which is Ethel, we can't keep her. I was like, why not? And they're like, oh well, so yeah, she was in our ceiling. And I was like, huh? They're like, yeah. She was downstairs. They have like a cellar and they have like a root cellar. But the regular part of the cellar had these like the styrofoam square ceiling things, tiles. So somehow Ethel got up there in their ceiling and then went through the ceiling tiles. So just and destroyed some of their ceiling tiles. So they did not want to keep her. And I was like, great, now I have to figure out what I'm gonna do with this cat. I really wanted Freya, ironically. I was like, oh, she's so docile, I want her. And it's funny because Ethel is like my favorite, well, you know, Lucy and her, but I love Ethel. She's hilarious. But at the time I didn't want her. I wanted my grandparents to keep her. So anyway, I was like, okay, like, you know, you guys are gonna keep that cat. I'll figure out something to do with Ethel. Freya, when she was with my grandparents, she was really funny actually. When they had her, the whole entirety. I'm just gonna go into this for a little bit. The entirety of them having her, she was really chill, docile cat. Anybody came over, you know, she'd come up, rub against them, like loved people. She still does. But the one time, the dressmaker, because my grandma was a rather large person, a large Italian woman, and she used to get dresses made for her, and she was disabled as well, so she would get dresses made and stuff like that, and the dressmaker came over, and the cat came over to the dressmaker and like rubbed against her and stuff, but like she put her claw, I guess, on this lady's pant leg and got stuck. And then the lady thought like she was scratching her and freaked out. So she started like moving her leg like this, trying to get the cat off. And it was like the most hilarious thing ever to me when my grandparents told me about it. I used to go downstairs and scratch out their window screens in the basement to get outside. And she'd just chill under their car. They had a Lincoln Century. I don't remember what the car was, a Lincoln something. Or that, or she'd just sit on like the front porch. Ethel, on the other hand, the whole reason that I started living in a camper is because of Ethel. I got in a fight with my dad. Because I brought Ethel back and he was like, you are not having this cat here. I'm not having two cats. No. So I said, all right, I'll leave. And what I did was I bought a 1989 camper, 32-foot camper, and I brought it over to my grandparents' house, fixed it all up, had my, you know, grandfather help me a little bit, fixing like the AC and stuff, and then I parked it in a campground like 30 minutes from my work. I was working at the mall and I was working at Amazon at the time. I was working 2 jobs, and I figured, you know what, I got denied to go to Japan with Josue, so why not? Like, why not do this? This would be fun. So I remember it was like $600 rent a month to stay there. I had the coolest neighbors. It was fun. I had a weird neighbor though too. He used to just like stare in my window. It was weird. He was the owner's son, which was even weirder. But yeah, so I was like, yeah, I'm leaving. Got this camper, toodaloo. And I moved out. And I moved into this camper and fixed it all up, painted it, shit like that. And yeah, and then I had Ethel and Lucy hanging out with me, and I loved it. I loved it so much. However, I was in the thick of my mental illness because they were not medicating me correctly, and I was having freakouts all the time. I even remember the one time like having I guess it's like, I don't know, the police technically, but it was like them just come out to like do like a wellness check on me because I was so distraught because my medications were not working, and I was like on the phone with like someone, and they ended up calling them, and it was like 2 o'clock in the morning, and Lucy got out and I couldn't find her, and I was freaking out, and I was outside looking for her, and then I came in and I was freaking out, and then the people came for like the police came to like come do a wellness check on me, and they're like asking me if I'm okay, and I'm like just crying. I'm like, yeah, I'm fine, but my cat, I can't find my cat. Yeah, it's like I laugh now. It was not funny at the time, but yeah, so I eventually found her. But I'm sure my neighbors were like, what is this lady doing? I just remember the like police out there with their flashlights like trying to look for my camper. They're probably like, what in the hell? Like, what is this phone call we got? Got a phone from his cousin, my ex's cousin. And yeah, she moved in with camper with me and Lucy, and we had bunk beds, and Ethel and Lucy had their own bunks, and then like they would rotate sleeping with me, and Ethel used to sleep in a drawer that I had, um, and yeah, and I had like a TV, and we'd hang out and chill out, and I would take showers, and Ethel would be right there with me, and they'd go outside a little bit. Ethel would eat the bugs, like the beetles and stuff that would come in the camper when I'd open the door and things like that. Honestly, it was so fun. The only reason I sold that camper was because I was like, I'm having such a hard time mentally, and I had been married for like almost 3 years at that time. Yeah, almost 3 years at that time, and I was away from my husband, and I was like, I really want to go to Japan. I figured out how to go non-command sponsored, which I will do a video on, because it is like lengthy and people don't know about it. And I used to be in all these groups back when I was doing it, and we'd all like bounce ideas off each other and stuff. It was pretty neat. But yeah, so I sold that, and I ended up going to Japan, and I left Lucy and Ethel with my ex's mom. Shout out to her. Thank you so much for taking my cats, because I remember I was working at Tivana, and I was like, I have no one to take these cats. I was like, I asked my dad, I asked my grandparents. They're like, we can't help you no more. And like even with the camper, like I wanted to keep the camper because I did it all up, and nobody would take it for me to keep it in their yard, even though they had space. They just didn't want to. My family's not that nice. But yeah, so I ended up selling it to somebody for a lot less than I bought it for, even though I did all that work. And yeah, and then my cats went to his mom and had a grand old time at their house. Ethel got out the one day out their patio door, and they couldn't find her. But she came back. She used to hide under the rug. It was pretty funny. I reminiscing on all the pictures that I'm thinking of right now that they sent me. And then yeah, and then that is all of the cats. Oh wait, no, I missed one. Actually, when I was speaking to my grandparents, I think it was before I went to Japan, or maybe after. Regardless, I was still speaking to them because I stopped speaking to them at some point. They found a kitten in their backyard just out of nowhere. It was just showed up on their lawn. And they said that there was like a mom that came, over with it, but then it just never came back, and it was there. So they called me, and I went over and I got it, and it was super mean, and it scratched the hell out of me. And I was like, yeah, I definitely cannot take this cat. I was like, I do not have the capability of taking this cat right now. And I'm like, she's also mean. I was like, I don't want her. But she had like spots, and her name was Coco. Her name is Coco. She's still alive. And they still have her. Ziggy, Carter, and Coco, they were all Julio's animals. Well, technically I think Coco's Allie's animal. But yeah, so she named her Coco. And she was so tiny. and mean. And it's funny because she was mean to Ziggy and stuff too, I'm pretty sure. So, but yeah, they still have her, and there's not much of a story on her really. She was supposed to go to one of Allie's mom's co-workers, but I guess they couldn't take her, so Allie ended up taking her. And yeah, the rest is history. I have stories about my barn cats and stuff, but it's really not interesting. It's mostly we bought the house, there was cats there. The cats were not fixed, they multiplied. And then some of the cats disappeared. Some of the cats went to the neighbor's house. The ones that disappeared, I mean, like, I don't know what happened to them at all. Like, they're not with the neighbors. I just have no idea where they went. They're just gone. Which just sucks, but I don't know what happened to them. One day they just never came back. So, but yeah, and we have some of them now. Some of the neighbors have the other ones. One of the neighbors actually technically stole our cat, but it's okay. He's in a good home, and they love him, and they spoil him. But if they ever read his chip at the vets, they're gonna find out it's my name across the street. So I just don't have the heart to tell them. Funny because yes, he calls him. He goes, "Tornado, tornado," and he comes running, and the kids are like, "That's not tornado." Yeah, the rest is history. I still have Lucy, I still have Ethel, now I have Freya. Well, technically, you know, Bella, Mittens, whatever. I have her still, because my grandparents passed away about 2 years ago, and I didn't have the heart to give her to a shelter. She is a problem, to be quite honest. She does not like the dog, and she pee-pees places. But I am moving, and I unfortunately cannot keep my dog. They don't allow dogs, and my ex can't keep them. So we're trying to find someone to take them. But I do think after the dog is gone, that Freya will be okay. Right now I have her segregated, I guess is the word, like by herself. Because I'm trying to like nip the problem in the bud. So she's hanging out in my room, and I moved Copper downstairs because my other cats don't really care about him. So yeah, I still have my cats, and they're gonna come with me on this next adventure of me being alone. I mean, I'll have my daughter some of the time, but I mean, essentially I am gonna be alone a lot of the time once I move, and it'll be weird because me and the cats have not had that in a really long time, so it's gonna be interesting. I don't have my birds anymore, unfortunately. I can't really talk about what went on in February and March where I wasn't at the house, but I will eventually talk about it once everything in court is settled. But I don't have my birds. They passed away while I was out of the house. There was nothing I could do. The story that I was told is that they must have gotten out and one of the cats must have killed them. However, I don't really think that's plausible because my cats never really cared about my birds ever. So I don't really know what happened. I don't know if that's the truth or I don't know. But regardless, they're gone, unfortunately. Cheech and Chong, R.I.P. They were good birds. Yeah, I don't plan on getting any more cats. Me and my ex have talked about when my cats pass away, and we don't like thinking about that, and they're like our babies, like especially Lucy. Lucy is both of our, like, it's practically our child. And we were kind of actually fighting a little bit at first about who's gonna take her. I ultimately did say that I am taking her as of right now, just because I can't seem to part with her. I mean, she's like my emotional support kitty. She's been with me through so much. And okay, and my air conditioner came off. Hopefully I'm not gifted any more cats, because right now I can't take them, like I said. I would really love to. I'd love to have like a cat sanctuary one day, or have like enough land like I did before with the barn cats and stuff to have that, but it is a lot of work and a lot of money just in cat food alone, and then you have to factor in vet bills and everything like that. So I don't know. let's see what this new chapter brings. And I really do hope that my cats adjust well to going from living in a big house, which it doesn't really matter, I guess, because they only stay downstairs. They don't really come upstairs anymore. But we're gonna be moving back to an apartment and see how that goes. And I don't know, maybe they'll be happier because I know having the dog was an adjustment for them, for me and my daughter and stuff. Like, we love the dog, however my cats don't really like him as much, so I think that they'll be a little happier once it's just them. I am gonna cut this video short. Well, not short because it's been like an hour probably, but I'm gonna stop this video here. I think this is a good stopping point. I hope you enjoyed me talking a little bit, rattling off in the beginning, and then, the story about the cats. So, yeah, I hope to see you guys again. My channel is growing. I'm very happy about it. Yeah, the themes of this channel seem to be mental health, cats, or animals, and just, I don't know, I mean, pretty soon I'm gonna have a Magic the Gathering channel, so yeah. I'll see you guys later. Bye!